Valley Center City Council meeting for September 7th, 2021 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo?
Here.
Councilmember Stam?
Here.
Councilmember Evans? Councilmember Davis?
Here.
Councilmember Anderson?
Here.
Councilmember Gregory? Here. Councilmember Kerstetter?
Here.
Councilmember Wilson?
Here.
Councilmember Colbert?
Here.
Please rise and join me in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for who you are and what you're doing in our lives. We thank you because before we reach out to you, you're already reaching out to us, especially reaching out to our city council meeting tonight. We thank you for this group of the great leaders leading the Valley Center community. Lord, give them your wisdom, understanding, vision, and direction as they strive for people. Lord, we are about to begin this meeting tonight. Be with us and bless all the decision-making that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving along to item 5, approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, administration agenda, city council meeting minutes of August 17th, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes from the August 17th meeting.
Second.
A motion and a
I
second.
have one small change to the minutes. Ben Anderson was in attendance. He is not listed.
Guess I should have caught that.
Are we sure? Can we go back and look at the video replay of that, please? No. Okay, so now we need the motion maker to amend its motion and the second to agree.
So amended.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the amended meeting minutes of August 17th, 2021. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, presentations and proclamation.
Get out of my mouth.
7A, proclamation for Constitution Week, September 17th to the 23rd. And I'm going to pull out the copy I have in here so I could read it better. Whereas September 17th, 2021 marks the 234th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorial anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Lou Cicerillo, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Valley Center, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2021 as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Valley Center to be affixed the 7th day of September of the year of our Lord, 2021. All right, and move on to item B, new building permit application form.
Good evening, everyone. This is quite a feat where we have government that's actually working to reduce red tape. We always get a bad rap that we're always looking to make things more difficult. And this is a case where we have had a great measure of positive collaboration. What you see before you tonight, this is a one-page document. So this process. And so staff from my department as well as the public department, our two departments are the ones that review. Took a machete to it and reduced it down to one page. So this is, like I said, this did go live on September 1st. So it is available on the city's website. And we just wanted to highlight and thank the city staff that did work on this project and working to make us a more business-friendly community. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have to say that this has been something that should have been done a long time ago. I mean, we've heard from builders that the process has always taken a while, and I'm finally glad we got to the point where it's fairly simple. So thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item 8, public forum. At this time, we will open up the microphone to anybody here that wishes to speak to an item that is not on the agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. I have one appointment to make. It's to the Economic Development Board for Tim Hoffman. His term is to expire December of 2022.
Move to appoint Tim Hoffman to the Economic Development Board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. No committees and commissions, no old business. So we're going to move right on to new business. Item A, Hornet Hustle race request.
Hello. So we're just requesting, and we've met.
Before we start,
Yes.
you
sorry.
can take the mask off
Oh, thanks.
and then state your name and address.
Okay. Representing the Abilene PTO Hornet Hustle Committee, and yeah, is that good? Okay. So we're just here to request some road closure and some parking stuff for our Hornet Hustle event, which is our big fundraiser that we do every year. We've moved it to a road race. We're excited about that because we have a lot of pre-K families that push strollers. So we think that will be handy. And we are just requesting the closing of Abilene from 4th to 5th, just from 3:30 to 7, I believe is what was discussed. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And then our race will start at 4:30, and then we will have the police escort with a follow behind. We will be wearing bright yellow neon shirts so people can see us on the road. And we're working to make sure we have insurance for that as well. So.
Perfect.
Any questions?
Council? As we know, this has been a yearly effort that they've been doing. Councilmember Kerstetter?
Just, you've discussed or talked to the residents along Abilene that
We are going to talk to them and make sure they are aware of what's going on and they are okay with, and provide them with, we're having food trucks, so we're providing them with food vouchers and things to hopefully appease the people.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
And just to clarify, we are only running the 5K map. We are not doing the 2-mile and 1-mile map anymore. We've decided we can skip the 2-mile and run the 1-mile on our playground. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I move to approve staff assistance and partial road closures needed for Hornet Hustle on October 9th.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item B, Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival request. There he is. I thought I saw him walk in the door.
Straight from soccer practice, Lou. Oh, Mr. Mayor, Council. So yeah, I'm here on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce requesting some road closures for Fall Festival. And first thing is the waiving of fees for signs and banners. think that's pretty standard. They do that. But then the request of the road closure of Main from Meridian to Ash and South Park Street, that would be Thursday evening through Sunday morning at 6. And then North Park Street, Friday from 8 a.m. through Sunday morning. And then again, the Park Street area and Main Street, First Street for vendors over here. And then South Park for Ottaway rides, of course. And then the 200 block of South Abilene for Kids Fest on Saturday, as we've done in the past with Life Point Church. And then we request a road closure for Meridian from 8 a.m. in the morning or whenever Rodney can get out there. I've got a meeting with him tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then I've talked to Chief Newman about it a little bit as well. And so that would be our normal parade time, 10 o'clock until approximately 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. And then we also request the city in the past has done a $4,000 sponsorship for Fall Festival. This year, I will say we are cutting the amount that we're going to make with Ottaway Amusements down to help him bring in more workers and insurance for rides. That was one of the things that we agreed on. So we found ourselves in a pretty funny spot. We were only going to have a couple of rides, but that has improved dramatically over the last couple of weeks because we were able to help him out with what he's going to take home and what we're going to make. So any sponsorship we can get is greatly appreciated this year.
Is there any questions from council? Councilmember Stam.
I just have a thought. We're going to give them $4,000, but then down on item D, we're going to give KPTS $5,000. I'd rather give more to the chamber than I would keep it in town versus going outside what the dollars amount would be, but I'd rather see more go to the chamber than KPTS myself.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I'm going to echo what Councilmember Stam said, but what do we normally give to the chamber for this event? I know we give the chamber throughout the year, but there's a certain amount that.
It was 4,000 in 2019 and 18. I went back and looked on those.
Okay.
I know last year you guys helped us out with electric and some of the storage fees for things that we have to incur even though we didn't have the event.
Right.
So I think last year you guys, I don't remember exactly what it was, $1,900 or something like that. It was a little different, but the year before that it was $4,000 in sponsorship.
Okay.
My understanding.
Yeah, I'm all for helping. I echo what Mr. Stam said is.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Is there a motion here, council?
I move to approve the road closure request and donation in an amount of $5,000 for Valley Center Chamber of Commerce for 2021 Fall Festival.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Do want to remind council that the budget is expenditures too. Go ahead, Councilmember Kerstetter.
We have.
In favor, say aye, or raise your hand. I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going. Motion carries 7-0.
And there to jump in the middle of two items. This isn't on the agenda, but Eric does have an exciting announcement from the chamber that he wanted to share with us. Breaking news, if you would allow.
Thank you for the
Sorry.
music. So first I would actually like to present Senior Citizen of the Year. You guys know that there's a process the high school goes through every year with counselors to decide that. And this year they chose Kyla Burdick, who's here with me. You want to come on up? We actually met 15 minutes ago for the first time. My budget at the chamber is not always the best, so I do appreciate the $1,000. I can afford better frames now too.
You want to stand up in front of the logo here?
Yep, I'm out.
Yep. We all run.
Gina can stay.
Chris, I'm behind you.
Okay, second, I'm going to announce Citizen of the Year. I've had the luxury of being this guy's friend for a long time. You really don't need an introduction, but I think when you have the safest city in the city of Kansas, I think you deserve an award for that. So Citizen of the Year is Chief Lloyd Newman.
Woohoo! Hold on a minute. There's a bit of a problem with this. That would mean Captain Vote has to take care of things while he's riding around in the fancy convertible. We might lose our safest of the year thing here. Just say it. Just say it.
I didn't think about that, Mayor. This year I'm supposed to follow up the street sweeper.
Put him in the back of this whole bag.
All right, last but not least is our Grand Marshal for the parade. Another guy who needs no introduction. He's everywhere in town, but he spent the last 2 years working on a project that he's bringing to town in October. For the moving wall, he's poured his heart and soul into that, so hopefully everybody gets behind him. But Ron Colbert is Grand Marshal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Clearly, Councilmember Colbert did not know this was coming, did he? I was kind of worried he was going to fall over when he heard that. The look on his face. Congratulations to all three of you. Well deserved. I'm sure we'll be waving at each other in the parade. So, but I'll take your truck and drive up and down the parade if you need me to. I don't have a problem with that too. So, I'll follow. Yeah, it does. I'm a city employee, dude. Sorry. I've already had this discussion, so I know I'm covered. All right. Moving on. Resolution 703-21, alcohol sales on city property.
Looks like I'll cover this. Good evening, Mayor and Council. And so here is to allow the Chamber of Commerce, as well as whatever vendor that they select that has the proper licenses, of course, for the caterer license for their liquor side, to actually have a beer garden in the street this year. It's easier to close that off than to have it on another property. And my first year in 2019, it was kind of off in the corner. It didn't really fit well. People were crammed in there. We want folks to be able to enjoy themselves and to have a good experience at Fall Fest. So this is why this comes before you this evening, is to have them have a 40 by 40 area that will be approved by myself along with the chief, making sure that everything works out well. And it will be fenced, so don't think that they'll be running around crazy. Questions?
Oh, I have some, but I'll let the council go first. They don't have any. Oh, Councilmember Colbert.
Since I got caught by surprise, I hate to do this, but I do have a question for the director of the Chamber of Commerce on this alcohol. What's the hours going to be?
Be 6 to 11 o'clock on Friday, which it's been in the past, and then 11 to 11 on Saturday once the parade ends until the end of the festival, 11 o'clock on Saturday night. And Exclusive Events brought their truck in 2019. They're going to do that again. They've already sent me their license and their catering license and things like that. So they've done it before. They're equipped to do them. They do a lot of them. So we went with them again.
Okay, the reason I was asking is, are you going to check this year for ID?
That's something that they're supposed to handle. They're supposed to ID everybody that comes in. That's why we hire a bartending service instead of the chamber trying to do it, or somebody who may not have enough help. That's why we hire a service that's licensed to do it. That way they're supposed to check everybody who drinks and wristband them so they can drink.
Okay, as long as they can do the wristband.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. That's what the agreement is on that. So, yep.
Thank you.
So my questions haven't been answered yet. I know you said you sort of indirectly answered my first question, is where are we going to put it? I know in the past, I know we've had it buried, but that's based on past history of citizens' requests. And I know with the fact that the street won't be as crowded with rides and stuff. I'm not saying I have a problem with this, but I suspect we may hear some kickback on some of this from some people. And I just want you guys to take that into consideration. Let's not put it like around the flag and around like, kind of thing. But in the past, it's been in
Shaw Station.
Shaw Station, but that's never been big enough anyhow. Or that parking lot that's the church's parking lot now, I guess, so.
It's Darren Castleman, All Saints Healthcare. It's
Yeah.
his right now until he sells it.
I mean, it makes sense to have it near where the music's going to be too, but
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, we're not going to have it down Park Street where the kids' rides are. We're not going to have it, by
yeah,
the flag.
that's all I'm concerned with.
Yep.
Is I know, and I know with the two of you, you wouldn't do that, but I wanted to make the public statement.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I move to approve resolution 703-21 to allow the Chamber of Commerce to operate through its selected vendor of beer garden activity, the 2021 Fall Festival. Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item D, PBS Kansas request. You want to handle that, or you want to introduce Victor, or?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. With us is Victor Hogstrom, who is the president of PBS Kansas, who is our proud, which I would call partner, incredible partnership that we've had over the last 2 years. Of course, a lot of you have done the telethons, as you see our commercial, the mayor's spot with both of the mayors, with Mayor Dove first and now with Mayor Cicerello. So those run constantly. So those are all benefits that we receive from PBS Kansas. Yes, I am aware, as well as Victor, that we have not shot our commercial for this year yet. And so this one will actually have a commercial in this package as well as one last year. And so we do have the script and everything. We just haven't had a chance to get our schedules to actually shoot one yet. So this coming year, we'll have 2 commercials that will be played. If anybody watched the football game or watches those on YouTube, on the Hornet studio station on YouTube, you'll see our commercial, our community commercial plays on there constantly. I mean, that thing is every single break that commercial is running. I know last Friday night when I was, there was about 112 people at the same time watching with me. So it does get seen. And then our station as well with Channel 8 and PBS. So I'll shut up and let Victor talk.
Grant and the mayor and members of the council, thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure to see your faces and to be a part of your meeting. Well, as you know, we have a partnership, and I'm here for 2 reasons: to help us, to help get us to renew this partnership, and the other one is to update you on our new building. First of all, the partnership brings untold benefits. You heard some of them, but quality programming, educational programming, quality entertainment programs, informational programs, cultural programs, and featuring Valley Center on our local programs, those are just some of the wonderful benefits. Therefore, and this signal does come here into Valley Center and serves Valley Center. And we have people of Valley Center calling in pledges, supporting the station. Plus, we have the my friends, what it comes down to is that if you are an agency to get what you're getting from PBS Kansas, it will cost a whole lot more for the benefit of the people of Valley Center and Central. The last time I was here, we were KPTS. Today, we are PBS Kansas. Why is that? Because we're thinking bigger and better, trying to Kansas as much as we can and tell the stories of the people of Valley Center and the rest of the people of Kansas. That's why we do wonderful documentaries. Kansas baseball, swinging for the fences. Wichita, the air capital. Joyland, reliving the memories. And all of these other great documentaries that thousands and thousands of people tune in to watch. And when you put your message on PBS Kansas, it is seen and heard by thousands of homes. A weekly cum of 350,000 homes watch and learn about Valley Center. I see your station ID all the time. The Valley Center station ID. You're watching PBS Kansas, also serving Valley Center. Valley Center. Blah, 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 blah. You know the rest of the story. I see that all the time. That's great promotion. You don't find that on commercial stations. If you were to have that kind of exposure, you'll be really paying a pretty penny. And then, of course, your mayor is on helping us ask for support while plugging Valley Center. That's the strategy, and that's the partnership. And then when you have something happening in Valley Center, we get a call and we feature it on Positively Kansas. That is broadcast several times. We are waiting for the traveling wall to come, and that will be something featured on Positively Kansas also. And so I come to you today asking you to renew this partnership with your favorite public television station, thinking and remembering the value of public television to our community. I'll tell you a quick story. There's a public television station in Bunker Hill, out west, way out west. And the reason it was established was because they were trying to hire a doctor. Well, the doctor wanted to accept the position, but his wife and kids were in a hotel and they could not watch children's programming on public television because there was not one available in that area. And therefore the doctor turned the job down because his wife said, no, there's no educational programming in this area for the kids. That's the value of public television. When the symphony turns to us or the ballet turns to us to put on programs, that's the value of public television. And that's the purpose of public television. And so I urge you to please renew that support because, would you help me out, Frank? Please. Now I have one short, so I have them printed. There you go. Here's another. In that packet that you have in front of you, you will see another good reason why you should always want to support your public television station. The state of Kansas used to give $500,000 to PBS Kansas. The state used to provide $3 million to public broadcasting in Kansas. Today, it's only $500,000, and we get $50,000. We have a budget of $3.3 million. $50,000 from the state, and you see what other states provide to their public television stations. So think about just that. And the other fact is that we have to raise, of the $3.3 million, 73% of our budget locally to keep your public television station alive. It is not a Wichita public television station. It is PBS Kansas. It is for Valley Center. It is for Wichita. It's for everywhere, Hutchinson and all of the people who turn in throughout the state. 73% of the budget that we have to raise. That's a huge challenge. And we're always walking that tightrope. Another reason to support. So that's the request to renew the support. And may I pause or you want me to just present the building?
You can go ahead.
Okay,
That's
thank
fine.
you, Mayor. So a few months ago, we've been in the current building over 42 years. You have a picture of that, a floor plan. And in this building, it's small. If I were to give the correct adjectives, we may not be able to sell it. So I would not. Let's say it's a small, tight building and doesn't work. It doesn't lend to creativity. And so 3 donors came and said, we will help you with some upfront cash if you found a building and we'll help you get it. And so we found this former Merit Trust building right there. Money, and they're currently renovating, putting in the studio. Anything for that matter, you can see the difference. There's a flow plan, and you can see that we can have town hall meetings in Studio A. We can be more creative. We can do viewer, and you should be proud of your public. We are taking this giant step after 52 years in its history. And now we are offering rooms for sponsorships, 25-year naming rights. I don't expect you to do that, but if you want to, please feel free. We will appreciate that too. But just to bring in an update, we'll be hopefully moving, the plan is to move into the new location by the first quarter of next year. And this will change the image of the station and change the image of the area, right, when it comes to public broadcasting. This station will have things in it that other public TV stations don't have. And I can say that with authority because I've managed 5 others. They will have the children's, if you want to raise that a little higher, the Children's Discovery and Education Center, right up, right in the front, the bottom right, yep. And that center will have interactive experiences for kids with different stations. It will be free to the public. Schools from valleys can come on tours, no charge. We have because PBS Kansas has had such old equipment in the past, operating duct tape and bubble gum. We now will be, instead of throwing that old stuff away, we've been saving them. We'll have to go back to the old days of television, bringing you up to date in the high. We have a community room in that station, about the back row toward your left. Thank you, right there. The community room is open to the public for groups to have meetings. And then there's the boardroom. Our board will be tickled when they begin to operate out of this room because they always have met in the little studio that we have. But the boardroom is also open to other boards who may want to use it. We have the volunteer training center for training our volunteers. But no station has a children's education and discovery center and a museum. So these will be first. And we're so proud of these large studios to renew the partnership. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
What's your viewership for like an average month or an average year?
Weekly cum, 350,000 homes.
That's weekly?
Weekly.
Okay, and then for the state, the county, or just,
No,
how big is your viewership, I guess?
About 500,000 homes watch us, but the people tuning in and out, 350,000 every week, watching something or the other.
Any other questions? This was budgeted, was it correct, for this amount? Okay.
Last year, we got 5,000. And the more you give, the more spots you get too, by the way, 30-second spots that thousands will see and learn about Valley Center.
And we told that staff, moving forward, when we have all these subdivisions coming up, that we'll be able to see.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I just follow up on what we discussed earlier. I would rather see like the chamber get some more money like we just did than giving PBS Kansas. You're doing a fine job. I just, 350,000 viewers per week doesn't seem like a lot. And I know you're up against bigger, like the big names like.
The 350,000 homes, not
Right.
people. Multiply that by.
Well, that's still TV sets, 350,000 TV sets. How about that?
Right.
Yeah. So I just can't spending $5,000 for this.
Okay, I'm going to make a comment here for you. And we have budget discussions every year. We budgeted for this stuff. Ask for the budgeted money and telling them that, no, we're not going to give it or give somebody else more is not proper government. Okay? Budget discussions is when you set those numbers, which we will be doing later for next year. So it is bad government, and to say that we're not going to give them the money is the wrong thing to do. Councilmember Gregory.
Thank you. You almost said exactly what I was going to. I think that the benefit we receive from our spots on PBS is worth every penny. I think the help that we get in making the commercials, in setting up our channel, what is it, 8, 7?
7.
Yeah, these things really are worth what we're paying. So I don't think it's an unreasonable request. If we can do this in the budget, I think it's worth it.
Councilmember Colbert.
Yeah, I'm in favor of giving him the 5,000 for one simple reason. For a public TV station such as PBS now, if you go down there and talk to the people and you get around town and see people or watch the station, you'd be impressed with the presentation that the station makes, the response from the community when you answer the phones, each other, not the radio station. See who could raise the highest amount of money. All in favor of doing it. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson.
With the last two council members that have spoke, that this is key to the value that we're seeing that's coming from this. We are going to be seeing a new housing coming in here, new families. On a personal note, my wife does home daycare, and this channel is key to her just having good quality educational programs for the children that she does watch, and she does teach them pre-K. So it is a key piece. So I'm like the last two. I'm all in making sure we get your funding.
Councilmember Anderson.
I'm going to echo the last three and add something. I think what needs to be taken in perspective here is that you're reaching a demographic of folks that maybe aren't like all of us in this room, that don't stream stuff, that don't have the ability to watch things online. Kind of the old school. You've got young people, as Councilmember Wilson was saying, with the kids, and you've got older folks. I know a lot of the senior citizens that we serve in this community watch a lot of public television. So not to echo anymore, but I will move to approve PBS Kansas in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
Had a motion and multiple seconds. The only question I have is we do have funds for the additional $1,000 that we've just allocated this evening, correct? Thank you. All right, so motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Item E, approval of Brent Clark's new containers for fire department. Same thing. No, that goes on a little bit earlier conversation I had with them, but go ahead.
It's hard to follow that up, Mayor. I won't read through the entire memo. I'll just add a little bit to it. I'm sure most of you know that the firefighters, they train twice a month. Currently, they train on engine and truck operations, as well as strategies and tactics. But when it comes to the strategies and tactics right now, the best they can do is stick a cone out in an empty field and pretend like it's a fire and spray water on it. And so we're asking for these 2 8-foot by 40-foot shipping containers so that we can turn those into a training ground, essentially, or training buildings. The price that this covers includes 2 doors. It'd be like an entry door and an exit door in the rear. Putting them in, not the doors that you see there. These are actual doorways like you're going into a building or a home. But this would allow us then to put those strategies and skills to use and train together as a team attacking a structure fire. and an actual fire, because in these, we'll be able to set it up and actually start fires inside, and they will have the information ahead of time and know what, they're looking at and be able to respond to that and put it out together as a team. The reason we want it here, currently the only facility that I'm aware of in the metropolitan area has these is Wichita Fire Department. I know Derby is looking at them, but they don't have it yet. Wichita would probably let us come and use their facility, but then we're taking our firefighters away from the city to go down into South Wichita to do the training, and we're not able to do that together as a team. And I think that kind of training is important. We do that on the police side as well. I send a lot of my officers on the police side out to become instructors. That way they can come back and we can do it together as a team and learn the same thing and know how we're operating together. And I think that's just as equally as important for the fire department. So the money, I know that question will come up. We have two areas we're looking at. Because of COVID this year, we have a training line item that we haven't been able to use. Some of our training that we initially scheduled for earlier in the year was canceled because of COVID. And then we also, last year, after the 4th of July season, council raised the fees on the fireworks licenses and agreed to give that money for those extra fees to public safety in a form of equipment fund. And so we have the money between those two line items. We have the money to cover this. Also, just in case that question comes up, this is not the only vendor. The vendor we're looking at is Simple Ventures in Goddard. This is not the only vendor we looked at. We did price others, including one in Park City. But for what we're getting, this was the best price.
Got a few. Councilmember Kerstetter.
Okay, I think this is a great idea. Where are you going to put it at?
Out at the sewer plant, Rodney and his crew was gracious enough. If you've been out there anytime and seen where our range is, there's an area, a rather large area to the east of our range, the police range, when I say the range. There's a large area to the east of that they actually had put down some millings and made it firm, packed it in, and
Okay.
It's a nice area.
Is it going to be based off of our homes around here? I'm assuming it's going to be like a 1-story versus 2-story kind of a building, or is it? Are you going to combine them together? I'm probably getting sidetracked because this is kind of cool, but I've seen some of these before, and if you do it really well, it's very useful tool.
Our goal is to do side by side.
Okay.
And so we'll have the doors. We can't have them do everything. We're gonna end up cutting a doorway in between the two, so that'd be like similar to a house,
Right.
and be able to have separate areas or rooms, and then we'll have to do some welding. We have some folks on the fire department as well as public works that know how to weld and do things like that. Right now, our first goal is to get those side by side. Maybe in the future, another year or two down the road, we might look at a phase 2 and try to put a 20-foot container on top and make a second story.
Okay.
We have 3 firefighters currently on the fire department that have been to Indianapolis to the training grounds there. They have a whole huge complex. It's kind of like a small city of nothing but these shipping containers that they've made into homes, barns, business. I mean, you name it. And they respond to that. So we have some firefighters that already have a knowledge of how to do some of this. And then we have another firefighter just coming on board that helped set up and build the Wichita training structure. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm not sure the next 2 orders, so I'm going to call them in order. Councilmember Wilson.
Chief, you just answered quite a few of my questions there. Just looking at the future for growth in that area at the plant, that we can expand upon this in the future. Do you see that being a problem with the area that you have now?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
No need to up and move them at any point in time for any reason. Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Colbert.
Yeah, I was just questioning what you said about the training. You send them where? I can't remember the place now.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. Okay, thank you. What is the cost sending them there further training?
We haven't sent anyone for a couple of years because of COVID now. I want to say around 3,000 to 3,500 per firefighter, probably in that range. Time you pay, I mean, we're paying salaries, we're paying travel, we're paying hotel, and all those costs associated with that. So,
You're not going to eliminate that though, are you?
well, having our own training ground here, once we get this set up, that's going to most likely eliminate us needing to go there to do any of that because we'll have our own containers to go to. It's not going to eliminate a need for other training, supervisor training. I mean, we've got a lot of ideas. I'm huge into training, both on the police and fire side, because quality training saves lives. And so, you know, there will be other trainings that we'll do out of town. But as far as going to Indianapolis, I don't see a need for that if we have our own training grounds here.
Okay, do you see any possibility of getting additional cities, surrounding area participating and possibly paying for doing it?
As far as the paying, probably, maybe not. They may. I could see some agencies wanting to do it, wanting to work with us, but the problem they will run into is the same problem I talked about, is they don't want to leave their cities unprotected. You know, when to send a group over to train on that. Probably the most likely firefighters that I see from another agency wanting to come work with us, which would be beneficial, would be Station 32, which is Cedric County Fire Department. And that's because we work together a lot. I mean, they come to Valley Center and work on structure fires with us, and we go out in the county and assist them with structure fires as well.
Okay, does that include the EMS training for fire reports, or not reports, but attending to a firehouse or building burning? You have the fire department, you have the police department, you have the EMS responder, correct?
We don't have EMS. Cedric County has EMS. We have EMTs on the fire department, and the training that they have to go through every year to meet their certifications are separate from that part.
Okay. How long will these containers last?
I don't have an average age. I mean, the areas, we'll have to put a little bit more money into it. And it'll be a work in progress, and we're going to see what we can get donated. So when we set up the burn, we're not just going to burn anywhere in the container, because you can't see it in this picture, but those are wooden floors, thick wood with metal. But we'll set up, we'll put some metal down. I mean, there'll be specific areas inside where we have the fires. It's not, we don't just set one big fire inside and let it go, because it wouldn't last very long.
Okay, you were talking about doors. Are you planning on doing doors in front and back of the container, or just one?
Well, they should be offset. No, it'll be on each container. Will have its own entry door. So it would be to mock or be similar to, you know, front door and a back door of a house.
Okay, you sold me.
All right.
I move to approve the purchase of two 40-foot shipping containers in the amount not to exceed $13,900.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. It is time for the Barry Smith Show. Item F, revenue neutral rate hearing for for the 2022 City of Valley Center budget.
Only the best show of the year, Mayor. Hopefully my Wi-Fi stays connected here. But so tonight we will be approving the 2022 budget for the City of Valley Center. As you know, with Senate Bill 13, there are some newer guidelines and processes we have to follow. First up will be the revenue neutral rate public hearing. It's just like our normal public hearing, but this is where any taxpayers of the city can come and express their concerns regarding our mill levy. So basically for the first part there, we just want to open the hearing, receive public comment, close the hearing.
Okay, it is 7:51. At this time, I will open the public hearing for the revenue neutral rate. It is now 7:51 and 20 seconds. Seeing nobody here, I will close the public hearing.
Fantastic. Now that the public hearing has been concluded, Senate Bill 13 does need us to authorize a resolution or ordinance allowing us to exceed that revenue neutral rate. Our revenue neutral rate was provided as 53.192 mils. We are proposing a levy of 55.012, which is the same exact amount as last year. This resolution just gives us the authority to exceed that revenue neutral rate.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Mill levy is last year. It's just the valuation increased.
Exactly.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
Just for everybody watching, because I'm sure there's a lot.
I move to approve resolution 702-21, which gives approval to exceed the revenue neutral rate.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. We are moving on to item H now, the budget hearing for the proposed 2022 Valley Center City budget. Let me get caught up here. All right, it is 7:52 and 40 seconds. I will now open the public hearing for the budget. All right, seeing none, it is now 7:52 and 50 seconds, and I will be closing the public hearing. So we will now move on to item H. No, we missed H. I didn't check it off. Sorry. Okay, item I, adoption of the 2022 City of Valley Center budget.
All right, so I just can do a quick recap if you'd like. 37 over last year, strictly due to valuation increases. This is the proposed mill levy. As you see, the levy is the same. There's just a small fluctuation between general fund and employee benefit. Because as you remember, one of the major focuses of and getting them onto that KP&F retirement system, which is a benefits for our public safety personnel. There was a huge focus on some more infrastructure, a focus on IT with server upgrades, computers, getting us up to date with everywhere we need it to be. And as well as our public organizations, Mud Doggers, PBS Kansas now, not KP, as well as Fall Fest and a few other items such as Main Street Valley Center. That kind of covers it. And there's our quick recap of our fund balances. We reviewed a couple meetings ago.
Councilmember Kerstetter has a question.
Authorized, is that what we gave the $5,000 for? Is that for, do we need to amend this now?
So miscellaneous request line item there, that 17, I can just roll that up into the 3750 and make that even 5,000. We don't got to change any expenditures or anything. I'll notate that in the budget when I get it all settled in.
Fall Fest was for this year's budget, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, just
And we're good there.
a lot of things going on.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for the time explaining everything to me on this.
Not a
thing.
problem.
But I still have a question. The rec center, we still only have, what, $688,000 projected for that for this year?
So with that on the certificate page there, in the budget.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Understood.
As of right now, we're averaging about 54,000 a month on our sales tax collections. So that number there would be about 12 months of sales tax collections.
Okay, council, since we made a change at this year's budget, are we going to still, you increased the amount we budgeted by 1,000 in this last. Councilmember Colbert.
I'm in favor of keeping it at 5,000 for the chamber, but with the understanding that they show us a report afterwards.
I'm not sure how they would do that.
Their expense account.
This is a sponsorship. It's not, isn't it? Help me out here.
Show you or the council kind of what they're budgeted, what the revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably can't make it contingent upon that, but we absolutely can ask the chamber to come back and give a quarterly report or just an update as far as the success of Fall Fest and handle it that way.
That'd be perfect with me.
Sounds great.
Councilmember Kerstetter doesn't have a question anymore. Okay. So we need to amend this.
There's plenty of room to make that happen next
Okay.
year. We don't need to change any total expenditures. Our budget authority gives us more than enough room to go ahead and make that change.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of area throughout the budget to.
Okay. Just noted that we'll adjust that number.
Right.
Okay. Anything
I'll
else?
make a motion to adopt the 2022 budget for the City of Valley Center as presented in the August 26th, 2021 publication for public hearing with the mill levy of 55.012, which exceeds the RNR of 53.192.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. And before you leave, there is a copy of the 3 copies of the certificate.
Thank you. I was just going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up now and then reminder that I need 4 council members to sign 3 copies of this before they leave. I particularly doesn't matter which 4, but I just need to make sure I have 4 of you sign this. So, all right, move on to item, where are we at? J. I jumped too far. Item J, Rsvp agreement with Cedric County.
Good evening once again. This is just our annual contract with Cedric County to keep the RSVP program up and running. I did speak with Charlene, and in 2019, we did have 710 rides using this program. During 2020, it shut down due to COVID, but started back up again. So that's what this agreement provides, that transportation.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I know this is annual, but why does it have to be annual and can't be like a 2 or 5 year deal?
I can ask Cedric County.
It's
more of
I know it's
a general contract.
Yeah, and so this is part of their federal funding. So the federal funding, we do these in Nebraska with our own transportation services, and there's just red tape.
Okay.
Eliminated. Right, Ryan? Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve agreement between Cedric County Department of Aging and the City of Valley Center and authorize mayor to sign.
Second. A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Councilmember Anderson.
Just wanted to add, this is a program that gives us money. So everyone understands that we're not paying money to anyone. It's a federal program that we participate in that when people, correct, Barry?
It allows the
Right,
transportation
and
service
we
to happen.
utilize it a lot with our seniors. There are able-bodied seniors that have transportation that give rides to other people that don't, maybe not necessarily to our programs, but into which to wherever, and they fill out paperwork and Charlene coordinates that with them, and it's really not that hard.
Right.
And I don't know how much we brought in, but I know it's been used well, the funds that we've received. So I just want to make sure that that was clear.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody that needs a break? I was asked to think about that about this time of the, nope, great. Moving right along, we're going to go to item K, property tax abatement application review for Builders First Source.
Mayor, I will be succinct. All right, before you this evening, we have a tax abatement application by Builders First Source. As you know, as noted in the memo, they are in the process of investing just under $3.5 million in our community, as well as bringing in 25 new jobs. This entails the renovation of the former Leaker's grocery store into a new sales and millwork facility. Additional staff will be brought in there, as well as the construction of 5 new commercial buildings that have received their building permits or are in the process of being constructed right now. So with that being the case, they have applied to take advantage of one of our economic development policies, the property tax rebate. Based on the city, as you know, we did pass a new policy earlier in the year. For this particular property tax abatement, we are referencing a formula that you see here in the chart that results in the percentage of property tax that they will receive. So this based off of new jobs, new capital investment, and then there are some additional considerations as well. So you'll see here based on the formula with the 25 new jobs, that gets them to 30%. That 95% rebate using tax year 2020 as a baseline. So obviously the renovations to the building plus the additional 5 buildings will be rebated back to Builders First Source over the course of 5 years. We can also review this in 2026. And should the Economic Development Board and City Council decide, we could look at another 5-year term. But for now, it would be for tax years. Again, this was reviewed by the city. Again, for the terms that I just described.
Chair, this is the easiest approval that our committee had brought before us. So I think it speaks for itself. And in the past, we had issues with businesses meeting standards that we had set, and everything's spelled out here. So there's not any misunderstandings, and I think it's pretty cut and dried. So from our committee, this was a pretty easy recommendation to this board.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I agree with Mr. Anderson. This is I think it's a great idea. They're expanding, they're investing in the community. So I think we should approve it. And why does it have to be such a paragraph just keep scrolling down. You'll lose laughing.
I'm laughing because I used to get stuck reading these. But I would like to add one real quick comment, though, that even though we agree to a tax abatement, I think the sales tax revenue, just that alone, will be such a huge asset that we won't even notice this. I really don't. So that was just my comment on that.
All right, I'll dive in and make a motion based on approval by the Economic Development Board. City staff recommends final approval of Builders First Source property tax abatement application under the following terms. City of Valley Center, using the fiscal year 2020 city portion of general property taxes paid as a baseline, will any increase in the city portion of general property taxes at a 95% ratio to Builders First Source on the parcel of land, and includes the former Leaker's grocery store and the 5 new commercial buildings for tax years 2022 to 2026, with the possibility of an additional 5-year term based on the performance by the company to be reviewed by the city in 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I was just thinking, Councilmember Wilson, just because you took my seat doesn't mean you have to read these. But I'm sure the rest of the governing body appreciates it. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Now, with that said, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item L, final pay app for Nest Drainage Project. Mr. Golka.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you. As a matter of procedure, staff provides the final pay applications. It is a mechanism of project closeout. I will say that staff is very happy with the work completed by McCullough on the Nest drainage improvements and recommends approval of the final pay application. I'll stand for any questions.
Council?
I move to approve final payment for $83.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I just have one question.
Not on the
please.
consent agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Sorry, council member.
That's all right.
All right, we're going to move on to staff reports. Mr. Schrack. I try so hard to pronounce the A, so it doesn't sound like I'm saying Shrek all the time, but I know it's got to sound that
It's
way.
all right. It's all right. All right. Well, we are now entering the season. 'Tis the season when you see political signs, when we see political signs pop up in yards all over the community and the state. Just wanted to remind everyone that based on state statute, again, political signs can be placed in the right of way up to 45 days prior to the election. So in this is on November 2nd. And so starting on September 18th, political signs will not be removed by city staff. And then also per the state statute, signs must be removed within 48 hours of the end of the election. So in this case, by the end of the day on November 4th, political signs do need to be removed from the city's right of way. After November 4th, signs will be removed by city staff. Thank you.
Mr. Owings.
Wanted to briefly update you. If you are over by Lions Park and you see piles of dirt north of the community center there, we have recently begun work on a butterfly garden, which we are kind of in partnership with the library and Friends of the Library group and some community volunteers that are master gardeners and just volunteers from around the community in general. So that little area right north of the community center where the trees are at will be slightly adjacent to the west of that area. Won't affect any of the new construction or anything. It's still going to be tucked tight to that and stuff. But it's a pretty neat volunteer cooperative project that we're working on with the Friends of the Library group. And we're providing some assistance with that. So anyways, stand for any questions.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Will that be cleaned up by the time the moving wall gets here?
Yeah. We're probably going to be, you probably see the group out there putting some plants, in for this fall. I know that they've got plans to make a trip up to the Dick Arboretum in Heston. They worked with a gentleman up there that helped design this and lay out a lot of the native plants and things that I'm really not familiar with. So it's a big learning experience for me. But I know that they're going to be purchasing and installing some of those. So we've trying to lay the groundwork out, and there's block over edging, stones and stuff that they've got parked over in the parking lot. So just wanted to kind of update you guys on what that was going on over there. So
They're more than happy to big butterfly bushes and plant them over there if they'd like. So they're great though. They are great though. We have them by our door and it's just fun watching them. So it's kind of cool. So, all right, Chief Newman, hang on a second there. All right, Mr. Eggleston. Just because you knew he had nothing, I didn't.
I'm pleased to present for some completions. One, the mill and overlays we had done. They're all but complete. There's a couple of little to finish. There's some work on the bridge on West Main that they're going to finish smoothing that out on the transitions. And there's one spot over here on Fifth Street where there was a little drainage slough. They're going to come through and rework that area, try to help make that smoother when they come back. The other big item was the Colby lift station generator is in, complete, running. That was such a long time coming. That was such a reliability improvement. And if you see there on the picture, not only were they able to put the generator in, but we were able to take that old overhead service. We converted that to underground service again, further increasing the reliability of the power there. And that old leaning pole was holding all the old transfer switch, shut off, all these cabinets. And so once we get all the lines taken off that, our crew will go out and we'll remove that pole and then replace that with that nice rack. And then the meter display in these pits, I'm very, very excited about this. This is a huge safety advantage. We have these two pits that we have to enter when we do rounds every day. We have to enter these for the mere purpose of getting a meter reading. And this comes with a certain amount of risk. You're climbing down a ladder into a small confined pit. Fall, faint, any manner of thing could happen down there. And the reason they do it right now, they'll call on the radio to everybody, say, I'm entering this pit. We from you in 5 minutes. We're going to come looking for you. So Wade Gaylord and his crew got to looking at this, did some research. The 61st Street pit, they went down and added a remote read display, and the wiring comes up into the control panel. Now they don't have to go into that pit. They just open the control panel, get that read, move on. The 81st Street pit has an old analog meter. 61st Street pit, that improvement was done for a mere $240. Safety improvement that you gain out of that is beyond price. We'll have to replace the meter and everything in the 81st Street pit before we can do the same, but we're researching on how to get that done. Once that's done, the only reason we'll have to enter those pits is for maintenance, and that will be done.
Councilmember Kerstetter has a question.
Has nothing to do with what you just said. The Emporia Street from 5th to the golf course, is that your?
Yes.
Thank you. That's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
We're trying to utilize some of those millings from all these milling overlays, and the plan is, and we are learning, this is one of the first times we've redone a road with milling. And if we have to kind of work in conjunction with weather, because we don't have a water truck, and the best way to pack them millings, you got to wait for moisture. You go back out there, you grade them, and you pack them.
The building right next door has plenty of water trucks.
We're going to go partner with the fire department. We'll do the sirens and the water.
Just driving from out of their parking. You don't even have to drive out of their parking lot, just across the grass, and then you're on the road. So.
But along that lines, as of what I said in one other meeting, we have 73 miles of road we maintain in Valley Center. Less than 2.5 miles of that is unpaved. This is one step toward getting out of the gravel road business.
And I can tell you right now, this getting out of the gravel road business has been ongoing since the second year I've been on the council. We put in at that point, we said, let's get rid of the gravel roads. And we knew it wasn't going to take a while, but yeah, that is such a waste of our time dealing with those, or your time. Grading is like mowing the lawn. You just got to keep doing it and you're not getting anywhere.
Right. Now you still have to work the millings, but at least it gets rid of the dust.
Yep.
So
I noticed
and
a
it builds
massive
a nice
improvement.
base. So if we ever have to go back over, put some chip seal or some light coating over the top, we have a good base already, which is key to any road paving.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Golka.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, mark your calendars. September 28th, 10 a.m., right here at City Hall. I hope you'll join me for the bid opening for the water tower improvements. It's only taken 5 years to get to this point. Really looking forward to those bid results. It is advertised. We have solicited and sent out the advertisement to known contractors that perform the work. So we'll actually be presenting those bid results at the first meeting in October. Hopefully some good news there. Thank you.
Well, there's two long projects that have been being worked on for seemed like forever that are getting progress finally. So I'm glad to see that. Mr. Arbuckle? No. Mr. Smith, anything else? It is still your show, dude. I'll let you do it. Okay. Mr. City Administrator Clark.
I was going to say nothing. However, I have to make sure to acknowledge that on Sunday will be Councilman Anderson's birthday. So happy early birthday, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I have nothing. I'll stand for any questions.
No, don't see any lights coming on.
There you go. Have a great night.
Great. Governing body reports. I don't have anything. Councilmember Stam.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Davis.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Anderson.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Gregory. Councilmember Kerstetter.
No, thank you.
I tried not to laugh when he said it, but I couldn't when you did it. Councilmember Wilson.
I'm good this evening. Thank you.
And Councilmember Colbert. With your new title, sir.
If there's no other action before the council, I'll make a motion the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any further discussion? I didn't think so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.
Sign the budget.